Right, hi guys. This week I have a rare opportunity where all of my amps are in the same room together. So I thought I might go through what amps I own, what I use them for, why I bought them, etc. So enjoy. Um, to begin with, we have my Trainer Dark Horse. I've already done like a kind of a pretty in-depth review of this one. This is the one I have bought most recently, and the one I use the most, really. It's what I had been using with the band up until now. It's a tube amp. I think it's switchable between 5 and 15 watts, but since it's a tube, the 15-watt tube section is loud enough to play any live gig, really. I normally have it plugged into this orange 1x12, which is probably the second last thing I bought to do with amps. Before that, it used to be plugged into this guy down here, if you can see that underneath the PV, which is a Harley Benton 1x12 with a Celestion speaker. But I bought this orange to replace that. And underneath the orange, we can see my Marshall MG30D effects. This is a very old amp now. This is probably the second oldest one that's sitting here that I still use or still have. I bought this back when I was a teenager, or maybe just after I turned 18, because I wanted something a bit bigger and louder than what I was using back then, which was a 10-watt practice amp. This is a 30-watt solid state, and it's probably the dumbest purchase I've ever made. It's only 30 watts and solid state, so it's kind of too loud for practicing at home, but it's not loud enough to play a gig with. There's nothing really wrong with it aside from that. It's not a bad amp. It sounds pretty good. It has some cool built-in effects and all, but I wouldn't recommend anyone buy a 30-watt solid-state amp. It's pointless. And up here we have most definitely the oldest amp that I own that I still use. It's not really a guitar amp. It's a 4-channel PA system. It's a McGregor Vocal 4 PA. I think it's an Irish company that you wouldn't even really find this model anymore, except like fifth hand. When I bought this, it was second hand, and I bought it over 15 years ago, and it still works exactly as well as it did the day I bought it. So I'm going to hold on to this forever. It's a solid state amp. Very powerful, very loud. They don't build them like they used to, I guess is the phrase people would use. Yeah, and I mean, I've used it as a guitar amp as well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just very loud and solid state. I mean, it's not very warm or anything, but it's definitely usable and it's a great backup. Right, on top of that then, we have this orange Micro Crush, which my fiance bought me several years ago. And this is really just a tiny little practice amp that I use sometimes when I'm testing out a pedal or just messing about at home and I don't want to be loud. I use it less lately though because I have my trainer back home and I can switch that down to, is it 5 watts? I can't remember. You can switch it down to the quiet setting and it's fine. Next up is this, my PV Bandit 112. Now, this was my go-to main amp for years and years and years of gigging. Back when I was in a kind of a ridiculous little metal band that went nowhere. Well before my other band that went nowhere. Yeah, and this is a pretty nice amp. It's fine for what it does. It's a solid state. I think it's 80 watt, and then it has an extension cab option that brings it up to 100 watt. Which I've been using the Harley Benton 1x12 to do that. It's got a lot of bells and whistles to it. It's a high-low input, a clean channel, a lead channel, a master section with built-in reverb, 3 types of lead: classic, modern, and high gain. And at the back, I think it's got a power soak, external cab, as I said, a foot switch, or a FX loop, I mean, yeah. So it's much more complicated than my trainer. If you look at my trainer review, this is a really straightforward, no frills amp. There's not really much options. It's one channel, no FX loop, it's very straightforward. This is not. It says a lot to it. A lot of people don't like Peavey. I never got that. I think it's fine. Peavey are a good brand. You see them a lot in metal, back in the 90s especially. I'll probably go through this more detailed in a review video at some point when I get around to it. And then finally, back here at the very back, it's not really an amp, it's just a stage monitor, a passive stage monitor wedge. Let's see if I can get that in shot. Yeah, so this guy is just a passive stage monitor that I picked up like second or third or fourth hand off somebody, and I've been using that with my McGregor PA up here, and yeah, nothing much to it. It's just another Peavey item. I'm not endorsed by them or anything, I just happen to own a couple of things. Yeah, that is my journey so far. There's been some other amps. I had a Behringer bass amp at one point that was stupidly loud. It was like a 300 watt bass amp. As I said, I had a few custom practice amps knocking about at one point. And trying to think, was there anything else? No, really, aside from that, it was always just modeling amps, like the Zoom G5. I was using that for a while, and in the beginning, when I started off, I was using a Behringer V-amp because I was, broke, and that was there. It was the cheapest option available, really. And then for recording for a long time before I got my trainer amp, I was using just DIing it into the desk and using like amp modeler software like Guitar Rig, things like that. So now, that is an overview of my amps. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're into this kind of thing. Hopefully next week I'll have another tutorial for you. Thanks.